here because I was kind of fun. CEO Dan Merkin, he's having some audio issues, but he may be joining us here shortly. So this is our Wednesday QA session. This is where it gives me an opportunity to do a high-level overview of trade ideas, how it can help you in your trading, where the value of trade ideas is, and what makes us so unique. And then the last half of it's really your webinar. I want you guys to ask me questions, and I'll do the very best that I can to answer those. Certainly in the meantime, as I go through the product and talk a little bit about it, you're welcome to type questions into the question panel, and like Scott mentioned, someone will do their best to help answer that. But if you want me to look at it, let's save that for the last half of the presentation. Let's get right into it. So the disclaimer. This right here is disclaimer lets you know that we are not a registered investment advisor. So any symbols and stocks that I'm talking about here today shouldn't be construed as investment advice. Don't go, just because I talk about a symbol, don't go out buying it for that reason. This is mainly an educational, informative webinar where I talk about trade ideas. And specifically, I'm going to talk about Trade Ideas Pro. That's our flagship downloadable application. We have it available on the web in a real robust web-based version of our software. But for the purpose of today, I'll really stay focused on the application. I do want, this is kind of a premier slide right here because it's super important. And Trade Ideas, we've been doing this for about 13, 14 years now. So over that time period, we have evolved this from a simple window to a real complex, intuitive platform. It's got everything in it from the alerts and scanning, charts, artificial intelligence, so it has a whole ball of wax. But because there is so much available in the tool, I want to make sure that every single new user absolutely understands how to use the tool. And to start off, everybody that's subscribed to Trade Ideas gets a free one-on-one session with one of our educators, professional traders, very experienced users of Trade Ideas. And we connect remotely to your desktop. We go through the product, make sure you understand the nuances of the different windows, and ultimately set up a layout, show you how to use it in your trading, what you're looking for, and we help you configure that. Additionally, we have other resources. Every single day we have an incredible trading room. It's moderated by Barry. He's here answering questions, but if you have an opportunity, I highly suggest that everybody take a look at that trading room. I'm going to actually deviate away from the slide here and just show you how to get there. I'm just going to go to our website, and from the website, right up at the top menu, go to the live trading room. This is going to take you to the trading room, which is a full interactive desktop sharing session. Barry's live on the mic during the trading hours, also a little bit before. So if you have any questions, he's there, before school starts to help you with that. So really, really critical. If you get anything out of today's webinar, I mean, the one takeaway, please go to the trading room tomorrow. It's a great resource, and these guys regularly pull money out of the marketplace. So if you want to see how professionals do it, this is a great place to visit. Additionally, we have webinars that we put on through the week. This is one of them. This is one of 4 different webinars. Webinars on Monday, 2 of them on Wednesday, and another webinar on Thursday. And they're all done by different people. They're focused on a little bit of a different nuance of trade ideas. So I encourage everybody to have an opportunity to take a look at those. They're also recorded, so if you're not able to attend that in real time, then you could always go to our YouTube page, go to the webinar section, and pull any of those up. So I see there's a special here. I haven't seen a big special that we've offered in a while, so excited to get to that slide. But before I do, let's drill right into the software. I'll take a pause here for a second and see if I looked up at my screen and I don't see Dan's with us, so I'll just keep going. This right here is Trade Ideas Pro. Trade Ideas Pro is our downloadable C# application. It's a thin client. It's a thick client because it's a downloadable, but it's a thin client, and by that I mean all of the heavy lifting that we do at Trade Ideas, all of the crunching of the data is all done on the server side. So what we do, and what kind of the secret sauce, kind of the special sauce of the Big Mac, what's really interesting about Trade Ideas and what's special is that we take all of this data and we aggregate it in our data center in San Diego. Connections to the NASDAQ, the NYSE, connections to Oprah, connections to StockTwits, connections to Edgar, and to other data sources that are out there, and we consolidate it all into our data center and ingest all of this data in real time, and we database it all. And while we're databasing it, we're also creating new bits of market data that doesn't exist anywhere else. Data like relative volume. What's the stock's volume at this point in time during the day compared to normal? How much does a stock move over 15 minutes? Where is it in relationship to its R1 pivot line? All of these data points are special to trade ideas, and we're computing this stuff in real time throughout the day. And we're presenting you in this application a real nice way to get started. So Trade Ideas is an alert, it's a scanning tool, it's really your idea generation partner in the market. It's what sits next to you and helps you find the stocks that are moving throughout the day. You know, that's what we do every day, and that's all we're doing. So we're sitting here listening for information and presenting you that information in real time based upon what you want to look at. And in the upper left-hand corner of this display right here, I'm showing you our channel bar. And our channel bar is something that we put together a little over a year ago that it's essentially a variety of different pre-configured workspaces. So a workspace specific to the pre-market has been put together for you. And it's important to know before I kind of go into the different windows and talk about the channels that we have, that you should know that every single thing in this, these are all free-floating windows, and every single window is configurable. It's like a piece of clay that you can shape and model to exactly what you want to look at. If I only want to look at stocks between $10 and $50 that do an average daily volume of X, Y, Z that may have traded already a certain number of shares today. These are all the different types of parameters that I have the ability to put in and customize to my own workspace, if you will. But what we have here is our pre-market channel, which consists of 6 different windows inside of Trade Ideas. So as I go through some of these different channels and talk a little bit about the information that is conveying, we'll go through these different window types that are used to display and to visualize data within Trade Ideas. So in this particular display, like I said, I have 2 charts. So charts are part of the components that you can open up. It's one of the available windows that you have inside of Trade Ideas Pro. Now charts very, very soon are coming to our web-based version of the software. So I'm thinking another couple weeks and that'll be released so that everybody can have access to not only the channel bar but also the visualization windows of our charting. So the next 2 windows that I'll talk about are these windows that have a T in the upper left-hand corner. These are top list windows, and this is very unique to Trade Ideas in the way that we do it. So, you know, every system kind of has a watch list that you're looking at, but this is a little bit different because it utilizes not only all of the regular market data, but all the special filters that we've created in Trade Ideas to create a filter set, if you will. So every symbol that's displayed in this window here is meeting a filter set that's very specific to Trade Ideas, and it's delivered to you with a particular sort order that you can then manipulate. And by that, it's kind of a lot of gobbledygook, but by that, we're looking at a top list window that's showing me stocks that have gapped up for the day here. So it's the ranked order of stocks that have gapped up. But if I want to see you know, what stock here has traded the most volume for the day, now this is after hours, but if I'm looking at it in real-time pre-market, that would give me another bit of information. And so essentially any one of the fields and columns, and you'll see the value as I move to some of the other channels, are all sortable. And the way that we do color within the top list window is also a very unique, it's a unique thing that's special to Trade Ideas, because if you'll notice, if we're looking at the gap, the stocks that are gapping down, you see this color-coded gradient, if you will, of stocks that have gapped down the most for the day. The darker it is, the more it's gapped down. Similarly, I'm doing the same thing here for the stocks that are gapping up, but if I take any other field and I sort on it, that color then becomes very relevant. So I can see the stocks that have gapped up pretty significantly in this view when I sort it on a different column. So that's very prevalent, and the color is another, it's not just to make it look pretty, right? There are real reasons why we're doing that. The same gradient exists over here on earnings. So if it's something that has earnings a couple days ago or in a couple days, it's going to be a much lighter color than if a stock has had earnings a month ago. It's going to be a darker color, and that just happens to be what this is set up as. But like I said, you know, the configurations, everything is like a piece of clay and can be changed The same thing with colors. Everything in here can be changed and customized to the way that you like it. And after you do that, you don't need to use the channel bar, if you will. You can go ahead and save this entire layout that you have. I'm going to go to Save or Share to Cloud, the entire layout, and now I can call this my personal pre-market channel. So now any changes that I've made, right, I now have access to those right through my cloud. So if I go to my cloud, the very last thing that I saved is right here, or we have just a great search that allows you to, if you want to pull up a channel, you just type in channel and it's going to go ahead and give you the relevant information for that. So that's the pre-market top list that we're looking at here. And there's another window that's in the pre-market that is a great window. We started off, the very first thing that we started with was an alert window. It was a notification window where if a stock made a new high, for instance, it would go ahead and send that symbol to that window and it would create an alert. And that's where we started. That was the very first thing. But this right here, it's like an alert window on steroids. So if I right-click and hover over strategies, I really have 4 independent alert windows kind of all bundled in to this window right here. So in a very small amount of real estate, I'm looking for a variety of different things. And this is one of those streaming event-based windows. So the most recent event that occurs is going to appear on the top line, and it's going to continue to stream events in real time throughout the market. Now, this is a window that's going to stop essentially as soon as the market starts. And I'm on the West Coast, so market kicks in at 6:30, so this window essentially stopped. This window kept going because effectively the gap isn't really going to change. Now, the price may change of the stock, but the gap's not going to change. The last window I have over here is our single stock window. Right now it's on the Profile tab where you can very quickly, if you click on a symbol, it'll update this window here along with the charts, and you can read exactly what that company does, scroll down for some other information, what exchange is it operate in, what sector, subsector, industry, all these other metrics that we have are visible here. And then in the single stock detail component, this allows us to take a look really closely at any particular symbol and look at some of the special data points and trade ideas. So, like I said early, we combine all this data, standard data in our database with the data that we create. So, a standard bit of data might be something like the earnings per share, or how much cash the stock has, or the company has, how much debt the company has. But here's something that's special to Trade Ideas, the position and range, and we have these on all different time frames. So for instance, the position in the year range, where is that stock right now compared to its year high and its year low? So without ever really looking at the chart, or at least a full year of the chart, I can see exactly where it's lying. This is in the upper last quarter, right? The upper 25 percentile of that particular stock's range. And so graphically, I can see exactly where these stocks are. Today, this particular stock closed kind of in the middle of its range. So if we're taking a look at the high right here and the low right here, it closed kind of in the middle, a little bit up, but it's giving you that little bit of flavor and that bit of information. All right, so let's transition to another channel. Let's go to the social media channel, and this is a channel where we're collecting data from a partner of ours called StockTwits. And StockTwits is a forum where people talk and do commentary on stocks all day long. And what we're doing is we're listening to the volume of tweets that are being mentioned on each particular stock, and we're creating a metric of that. And that metric is what we call our StockTwits relative activity. So
Brad,
at any given,
just checking.
Oh, there he is. Yeah.
Oh,
Hi, buddy.
Please keep going, because you just never know how long it's going to last with.
Well, you sound good.
But I love what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you. All right, so this right here, this is a social, and socials. It's actually a great metric that's underutilized in the marketplace, and in order to utilize it, you have to make it valuable. You have to do something interesting with it, and if you'll notice this column that we have here, the StockTwits relative activity, I can see that IMUC right here is being talked about an immense amount compared to normal. So 3,000% of its normal communication. Now, this is a cheap stock. It may not be anything I trade, but that's all something that can be done with filtering. If I don't want to look at stocks under $1, I don't have to. If I want to be alerted to some stock that may be waking up and looking for a big percentage move, maybe I do want to know about it. So, but that's completely up to you, and you can take this channel that we made and customize it to your own layout, to your own desktop, or to your own custom social channel.
Hey, Brad, since you found something really good, I thought that, I was going to keep it simple today for myself in terms of just, this is my first webinar back, so of course, the powers that be made the sound not work, etc. But it seems like, in my opinion, you just not stumbled upon, but you're explaining something very important, the social volume and how that can be interpreted. But let's make it applied versus theory. Let's make sure that we show everybody the best practices, which is, look, now that Brad's brought this up to your attention, regardless of how you found it, the next thing to do is alert yourself. And this is what Brad's going to show you how to do. This is the best practices. You found IMUC, and again, there's so much underneath, right? There's the unusual volume of all kinds, even though it's so little. Like, again, you want to find some of these that trade this way. But my point is, Brad, let's set an alert for like 17 or 18 or 19.
So here's the thing, and what you're saying, Dan, is it would have slipped right by me because I was kind of focused more on the tool. But you're exactly right, and what we're going to do here is we're going to show you one of the premium features that we have inside of Trade Ideas. It's what we call the price alerts, and it's such a great feature because here's a stock, right? IMUC. I can almost assure you that unless I do something physically right now with this particular symbol, I'm probably going to forget about it tomorrow. I'm probably not going to, see a potential move that may go 10 cents or something like that. It's just going to be out of my mind. But to assure myself that it's not going to happen, just visually here on the chart, I'm going to set a price point. It could be 16. I'm going to make it, well, it's 16 here, but I'm going to make it 17 cents.
Or you can even make it like that part, the fact that you have complete flexibility, make it 19, whatever. There's no right or wrong. The point is, this is the best practices. Like, this is making sure that if this goes, you will not miss it.
Yeah, and one of the great things is it's also visual here, right? So if I set it here at 17, but if I wanted to move it down, I could just visually move it down. It's going to go ahead and now reference that new price. And whether this happens tomorrow, or if the market was still going today, I could have done it midday. But whether it happens tomorrow or the day after or next week or next month, it doesn't matter because it's now in the system, and it's going to go ahead and alert me if that stock gaps over it. If whatever happens, I'm going to know when that stock starts to move again. So it's not going to be out of my mind.
Why don't you do the same one for that other little one right below it, SKLN? Just again, because the point being here is, the situation is almost irrelevant because, look, it looks complicated on the daily. You never know, right? But look at what Brad's doing visually without any magical indicators, pitchforks, RSIs, arrows.
So you see, I set it right here on the 5-minute. It showed me and gave me that visual here on the daily. If I think that might be a little tight, I can always adjust that, right? I can always say, let's take it up a little bit.
But now you know why, too. Like, look at how you've kind of, like, Brad, put it like at 23 cents, just for my personal preference, and I'll explain why. So, look, right there, what Brad's doing is, like, he's showing you how kind of, when you look at it on the daily, you obviously can't see this exact point. But when you look at it on the shorter time frame and why it's so key to use them together, you see this kind of inflection point, this channel, right? Then it broke down below it, but we're not going to short this thing at 19 cents. That doesn't matter. But if it starts to come back, right? These are the kind of things, these are the kind of stocks that, I mean, look at where it was it was at 10 cents just a few, was that days?
Look at this. This is right. Just in February, it was at $3.60. It was at $6 in November of last year.
Right. So what this means is there is a tremendous void to fill in. This is where you want to be aware. Again, we don't predict at Trade Ideas. We go to where you need to have a focus. The market is not about prediction. It's simply about allocating your attention to the things that are going, and there's no better way to do this than what Brad's showing you. again, just one more example. Let's set one up here at like 13.
Yeah, and this is one that was talked about quite a bit in our trading room today. So I know there were quite a few people that were able to participate in this particular move. And I was actually getting, this is here is.
So Brad, by the way, as you're typing this, what did you talk about early? Because again, I wasn't here and I was floundering.
I just talked a little bit about trade ideas and what's our secret sauce and what's special about what we do. And I just started in the channel bar. So
you need to talk to everybody about me. I was going to be here sooner or later. Come on. Thank you, Brad. I do. Okay, no, just kidding. But I was with Brad. Since again you're driving, and I want to keep you driving because heaven forbid.
Buddy, I'm kind of free flowing. I didn't have anything else.
I like the freestyle because listen, this is real. This is how people do it. So I wanted you to do something. And again, part of it is working together too. So in your cloud, Brad, do you have any alerts? Your prices that are working. In other words, so we've made all these alerts, but let's show people where they are, including maybe some of the ones you have previously, because I want to then show the 1-2 punch.
Let me do this. I actually have, if I go to my, and this is probably, a lot of people don't know that you can do this, but I'm going to go to my price alert windows here. And I think if I scroll, I don't have too many. If I scroll down, I've got triggered and working. And so essentially.
I just know no triggered, just the working.
All right,
if you have it.
It's okay. We can look at one and the other one. So you just want the working.
Yes.
There's the working.
Okay, perfect. So let's talk about what that is. So these working alerts here, what it means working is it means that really trade ideas, Holly, everything is listening and it's waiting for something to happen so that, hopefully something will take place. You can sort this information how far or close your alerts are to the trigger that you set. So Brad, sort and resort so you can just see it. So let's go to edit, for example. All right, so one point in time, Brad and I had set an alert for edit that should it go above whatever that was, that we were going to get into it. It did not. But now a whole new thing has transpired, a kind of a downtrend that's happened since March, right, Brad? So why don't we just literally grab our initial idea and now put it somewhere where it makes sense, like 17, which you will see pop into the lower 5-minute chart somewhere.
You want me to put it at 17? I got you, buddy.
Yeah, there it is. So what I'm doing here, guys, and again, this is simple. Notice, no configuring, no if, then, and all that crap that you don't need for actual investing. What we're doing is we're basically taking some of Brad's previous assumptions that he's had, and we're simply adjusting them. Because these are working. In other words, whatever it is, they're either far away or very close. So you can then go, Brad,
I'm going to scroll down because take a look here. We're going to find edit, right? It just moved to the bottom of my list because now it's only 19 cents away.
Well, but one more thing. Why don't you add the date that this was created? Oh, you have it. Sorry. I wasn't looking. But scroll it to the left so that we can see right next to the symbol. So the idea here is Brad can look at this and he's like, and he's starting to understand also, well, where did this come from? So let's take a look, for example, at Juno. Okay, this is something that Brad had done in March, it looks like.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. And listen, again, it makes sense, right? But now you can take that information and you can adjust it if you still like what it is. And I still would. So let's put that like right above 30 and a half. You see that green one you got in there? You can take the green one too, Brad. It doesn't matter because it just goes from triggered to not triggered.
Yeah, I'm just going to take this guy here. Would you want to take it to?
Yeah. 30 and a half-ish. Yeah, like somewhere right there. So look, don't overthink the why. The fact that you're in these names is already important because Juno's in, they're in that cancer curing business, and that stuff is very volatile, but you want to be in the know on these names. That's why we put the alerts in there. So Now, again, here's another one. Chico's. Okay, once again, well, this one's actually kind of close. So, I mean, you can still adjust it to like 13 and make it more relevant. Because see, like there on the
But
top,
I still like it here, right? To me, this is where I'd like to leave it. I see resistance, and I'd like to see it cross, and when it does, boom. And I'm sorry, I did a resort on you.
Consider, just if you're looking at it from the purely, like, regardless of what you did in the past, you can see that it had that really interesting wedge and channel there on the 5, right? I mean, it's kind of...
Well, here's another thing I do, Dan, all the time, and that's set kind of an intermediate alert, right? This right here is it's kind of like a feeler position type of thing, right? So you'll set something like here, and this will be the initial notification. I wouldn't load up here, but this would be my initial spot, and when it starts to cross here, then on a pullback, or depending on what the market's doing, this is where I would really start to put some size on.
We're going to write a blog about what you're talking about there, and I've kind of have it titled, "It Takes Two to Tango," meaning that what Brad's talking about is a style that really is appropriate to the kind of investing that we do, and it also is very commensurate with low commission rates. So think about it. He's saying, listen, here's a, whatever, $12 stock. You never really, it's impossible to say that you're going to be right, ever. I mean, you always kind of take a hypothetical, speculative situation and you apply yourself to it. So what Brad's basically saying is, listen, I'm going to just put a feeler out, maybe 100, 200 shares. When it crosses the first one, let it kind of sink in. Let me be able to kind of have a view on it. And then if it goes, I'm going to buy more, fill my size, and kind of it's already proven. And if it doesn't, you just get out, and you get out on the smaller lot. It's a common, smart, like, speculative strategy. And also what Brad is showing here, and this is very important to understand, is that you can have multiple alerts for the same stock. It's completely normal. And in either direction, you can have...
Yeah, and not only that, you can have some alerts that have triggered, some alerts that are still working, right? So my working, I set it and forget it. I haven't gone back to them in quite some time, and I probably should. That's definitely
Brad, that's exactly what I'm pointing out, is that in part of the best practices, if you set it and forget it and completely forget it, then what happens is you sometimes miss opportunities. This is where the humanity really takes place. The trade ideas, we give you the most powerful technology for taking advantage of the market. But, like any instrument, it's still helpful to know how to play the piano if you're a musician, right? This is, even though you can program stuff on on a MIDI, you should still know what you're doing. And this is the same thing. By going and reviewing the alerts that Brad has kept, he's able to make them more pertinent to the current market environment. And it's a big advantage that Trade Idea subscribers get in how they evaluate this stuff. Not only that, but Brad, maybe you point out that what does the since triggered option mean? It's a key component to how we suggest people who want to swing trade really approach the market.
Yeah, well, this is a great little metric. It really kind of lets you know how good are your ideas. Are you anticipating the right direction, the right places to create an event? And here's the thing, this works and lets you know how much that stock has moved in the appropriate direction from your alert. Now I want to show you something that most people don't know. I may want to get into AUDC or be identified or be alerted to this stock if it pulls back. But I may want to go long on that pullback, right? So by default, if I right-click in here and select Create Price Alert at 530 from above, it's going to anticipate or speculate that I want to go ahead and short this. And that short is pertinent to this value right here, because depending upon what direction I put in here, that's going to really determine, am I correct in my thinking? So if I wanted to get long this stock on a pullback, it'd be important to put this long notification here, because when I do, then the profitability will get accounted for properly if that stock started moving upward again, right? So that's important to know.
Hey, Brad, quick question. Did Scott already pop in, or has it all been you? Because, I mean, I have a lot of cool stuff that I wanted to kind of also showcase, not myself, but have you do it. I mean,
sure, no, I have not invited Scott back in yet.
Why don't we give him, because I had so little time to talk. Why don't we give Scott an opportunity to tell everybody how we actually make a living, and then you and I maybe will showcase a little bit of the web-based stuff, so you can maybe get that ready to give people an idea what's coming. That's why they're at the Q&A, to see the latest and the greatest.
Sounds good. Mr. Scott.
Is he hiding?
I'm unmuting. That's what happens. Hey. So yeah, thanks for joining us. So we're coming up on the on Labor Day holiday, and as a thank you for joining us in the webinar today, we've got a code for you. You got a first bat at this Labor Day code. So it's a big 25%, a full quarter off your first month or year of premium service. So you save hundreds right away off your first year of Trade Ideas Premium, or big amount off the first month of Trade Ideas Premium. This will also save you 20% off of the standard plan if you want to go ahead and get that. You can get your first month of standard for just $79. And that also includes the full hour of one-on-one training, the hour of power. So you can purchase any of our subscription plans, including a standard plan, and just go ahead to the the support section of the website, and then click on training there. And that'll take you to an interface where you can just go ahead and sign up for a free hour of training. It's the best way to get started. It's a great head start. So this Labor 2016 code has to be all caps for the LABOR. It is case sensitive. You can also go to the handouts panel on your GoToWebinar interface. There's a plus button right there, and there's a download for a QA Labor Day sale PDF that includes this slide and also our contact information. So go ahead and take advantage of this. This is only going to be good through the holiday weekend, this code, and then we'll go back to the normal, smaller discount that we usually offer, most likely, but that's always subject to change. But to get a full quarter off your premium subscription, go ahead and use this before the end of Labor Day weekend. Again, this is also sessions recorded. There'll be a recording available for you tonight or tomorrow. Any questions about this or how to do the upgrade? If you're on standard and you want to upgrade, if you're on the standard monthly and want to upgrade, just go ahead and purchase a premium plan. It'll override your existing standard plan. If you want to upgrade from the annual standard plan, the best thing to do is actually contact info@trade-ideas.com today, and they will help you either add it at a small additional fee per month or help you out with the switch over, depending on when your annual's up. Any questions, again, info@trade-ideas.com, or if you want to subscribe, just go straight to trade-ideas.com/price and use that Labor 2016 code, and it'll save you a bundle today. Thanks. Brad, Dan, back to you guys.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. So yeah, we always want to give everybody an opportunity to take advantage of the software. I mean, obviously, that's why you have the handouts where you give the trade of the week, and we're really kind of, I mean, Brad, you and I were chatting about this earlier, but I really believe that our objective is to kind of Teslify investing. We want to take it completely to the next level. And we might even do a brokerage in the interim, possibly, as that goes on. I mean, so many exciting things. Part of that is what Brad's about to show you. So we're taking our technology and we're porting it completely to the web, so that instead of going the route of the app or other things you see like in that kind of environment, we're kind of leapfrogging that using advanced web-based technology to put everything that we have in TI Pro on the web, and including Holly, the AI, which is all being worked on right now. But the first thing that we're doing, and Brad's going to showcase a lot of this for you, is that we are adding charting to our web layouts. And Brad, take it away. Show people kind of what's going on.
You bet. So, essentially right now we're looking at our channel window, and this is kind of cool. It's a little bit different than, let me go ahead and actually restore it so I can kind of show you the flexibility that we're working with here. So right here, this is kind of a free-floating window inside of the web interface, inside of the browser window, and this just happens to be one of the windows. This is a channel window. I'll make it kind of small, and I'll go through some of the stuff that we've done here. But, for instance, if I was to just open up, say, a new alert window, right, I could take that window, move it over here, and effectively create a layout in a workspace. But having my workspace, I can then, if I make this a little bit smaller, then I could then peruse channels, and I could go through, the different channels that we have, and I've just started to incorporate the charting, the different time frames. It's interactive. You can zoom in and zoom out, and all the functionality that's in the application will be available here.
So, Brad, again, I think we can also talk about one of the things that we're slowly moving towards is also the ability to have multiple channels at the same time. And I think that's really going to be primarily first showcased on the web. So that imagine you can kind of have, let's say your Holly AI channel as the focus, but on the side, like where Brad has his market watcher or his biggest gainers, you literally have another channel bar possibly where you're surfing through the surge or the active trading. And again, there's just a lot of different ways where you are going to be able to be innovative in how you view the data.
So the cloud, that's something that is completely shareable between the different versions. So we're pretty proud of that. So anything that you build in the application, you have that cloud link, it'll port right over to the web, and you'll be able to bring in all of those different windows exactly how you had them configured before. So that's a pretty slick feature here. And then again, everything is configurable, and it's done exactly the same way. So if you know how to use the application, how to configure a window, it's all the same, right? The same filters, the same alerts if you're in an alerting window. So this is a pretty slick implementation of it.
Yeah, one of the big advantages here is obviously the fact that you can not be limited to just Windows. And one of the things that we've tested that it looks amazing on iPads or Chromebooks and really even on the iPhone. The charts, we partnered with ChartIQ. They're again, they've done a lot of good work on web-based interfaces, so we partnered with them, and we're going to be slowly moving towards the ability of really seeing better data on the charts in terms of our data, like how our alerts are visualized and things like that. So, I mean, we've never been more excited. We're just going to continue to push the envelope and push the envelope. So, Brad, why don't you and I look at the Q&A real quick and maybe see if we can, and again, this time since we're sort of done yapping, you guys can ask more questions and we can answer them. Fire away. See, Scott Parker had the, I don't know what question about algos, pools, index setup. Well, for a pool, I wouldn't go any, Brad, I wouldn't go any deeper than 8 feet, right?
That just I honestly, no disrespect to Scott, I don't know what he's talking about here, and
I think he's talking about dark pools and the 40 different ones. And what I'm saying kind of about that is that, Scott, yeah, we don't do specifically dark pools, etc. But what we do is, since we watch everything that hits the tape, everything does hit the tape, we factor it in. It can't escape the tape, and therefore it cannot escape our algorithmic eyes. Yes, we have a consolidated tape of everything. So, Brad, we have a trial version that has delayed data. We do not do trial versions before committing because here's the thing about trade ideas and what we do. I mean, we know that investors have a lot of stuff coming at them. You have a lot of people vying for your attention and for your money. But we've been in this business since 2003, and we have the advantage of having the reputation for being exactly who we are. We are the leader in this space. So you have to actually then take it upon yourself to either commit or not commit. It's more up to you. I mean, it works. Will it work for you is a whole different issue, and we can't control that. So Ken, I'm not sure why you would want to. I mean, only one. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's for security reasons. It seems kind of odd. Susan, the ones that the presenter is showing you are on the web-based version. Some of the icons are a little bit different. I think there's
yeah, it's the winners channel and it's the beaten up channel. I think if we were looking at the application here.
So Arvind, there is. Yeah, so Steve Gomez is letting you know there's going to be an open house if you want to wait for that. But, you know, if we're talking about artificial intelligence here, and if the monthly cost of that is really that prohibitive, it might not be the right thing for you. And we say this all the time. I mean, that's how you know if you are or not in the right place. You know, you must be able to afford $188 a month product, roughly speaking. Think about that. That's like drinking like 2 or 3 bottles of wine a month. Okay, Mark, great question. Brad, I love Mark's question. How might, and this is important for everybody here, how might you explain how an investor working first shift might start with trade ideas part-time? Mark, the first thing I would do is start with our free trading room. Brad, can we pull up on the, bring up our webpage, our homepage. This is very good for everybody to know. So, and Thomas, this will bleed right into your question. Okay, so our live trading room is one of the most important assets that we have at Trade Ideas. It's basically a moderated trading room with Barry Anderson, who's our head trading moderator, very experienced user, member of the Trade Ideas team, and a lot of people are in there from our group, myself, Steve Gomez, Brad, almost all the trainers are in the room many times. That's how I would start, because that lets you kind of feel everything out, feel the flow, feel like the things, without really feeling like any pull in terms of having to subscribe or pay any money. Once you get that comfort level, then you really, again, then it should be like an instant, I get it and I know why I need it. It's kind of like that. The other thing is we also do that free trade of the week, and I think Brad, I mean, I'm sure Scott put the sign up in here. If not, so the free trade of the week, it's powered by our technology. Steve Gomez is the one that is really the leader of rounding that up and creating that. And Steve has done an incredible job giving people really a full free trade idea, our trade of the week, that is kind of like, again, another example of best practices and more longer term kind of investing. And I think we're building a page that has the performance for all that. That'll be happening very soon. But it's really good stuff, and it lets you see things for free. The trading room has no limit. We encourage everybody to be there because, again, there's no better way to demonstrate what we do than through actual evidence and through, you know, I don't need to boast about the kind of car that I drive and things like that. Oh, Brad, okay, you know it's a very nice car. But I don't need to boast about it because we constantly, you know, all kidding aside, we day in and day out, we showcase what we do. And it's very easy to follow. Scott knows me. He knows what I drive.
So I against the advice of all of our development team, I've gone ahead and posted the latest beta in the chat. So
well, that's one of the, Brad and I, we love doing this to our development team. We tease them. We, you know.
It's how we stay entertained, right?
Mark, what's a PT?
Part-time?
Oh, well, I mean, part-time is everybody is part-time, literally. You know, that's the beauty of the information age. The fact that you can access a lot of this technology on more mobile devices lets you be a part-time investor today in a better way than you could ever be. So imagine if you had an iPad or a Chromebook, you know, you could be watching exactly what you'd watch at home, but maybe at your desk. And since the room is open all through market hours, whenever you have time, whenever you have the availability, go in the room. Remember, everybody, the room is not a commission or subscription-based service. It's there as an education for everybody. That's how we want to contribute to the world of investing. I mean, of course, we showcase what we do, but if we wouldn't keep getting more and more users if we kept losing money or if we were doing something unethical. People really see that this is real. We are Teslaing up the market. Okay. So let's see, Brad. We've covered that. Did you pop into the AI yet on TI Pro?
Because I've been typing. Hold on. Instead of typing, let me just address Walter's question regarding a Mac implementation. So this is something that I'm doing actually right now. So I'm hoping by next week I'll have a definitive solution. But CodeWeavers has a program called Crossovers, which is something that allows you to run a Windows program native in a Mac without a Windows operating system. So that's something that I'm in the process. I'm working with their support right now. So, you know, I'm hoping that it'll be very, very shortly.
So, Brad,
it also works with different virtualizations like Parallels and VMware.
So, Brad, why don't you, as we finish, why don't you pop on the AI channel? And what I want to do is, obviously, I don't know if you've even spoken about it, but our AI is like the crux of all of our development kind of resources put together into what we think is just the best technology for investors. But there's more to it than simply just quote-unquote making money. And what I want to do is I kind of want to walk through the trades today, okay? Let's see, how many were there total? There's so few that, and Brad and I are going to do this because Brad, we have 7 minutes, right?
10 trades.
So what we're going to show you is how all the professionals, Brad, myself, and everybody who's really good at working with trade ideas, what they do with the AI. So, Brad, let's start. Click on KPTI. So this is aftermarket. Let's say you missed everything. Okay? You take a quick look, and you say to yourself, okay, we'll pop that thing above the all-time high, and let's do it. Run it.
Yeah, so I had an interim midday price alert set, which is something that I recommend. You create a symbol list, a watch list off of the Holly calls that you look at for multiple days. You set price alerts off of the Holly calls.
But what we're doing now, by setting, as Brad's kind of like almost reiterating two things in one, because by setting the price alerts for the Holly trades, you're de facto putting them on your working list, which creates a symbol list for you. So this was how, in other words, how do you keep track of all the good information that AI gives you? And it gives you a ton. So let's go through CHS one. Let's keep
going.
Look,
before we kind of move to that one, I kind of zoomed out here of KPTI, give you a longer-term view. I mean, it really, look, it all depends on what you're looking at here, right? So if we're looking at this view, sure, that looks good. But as you start to zoom out, it looks even better.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you see the resistance, how it's been there on multiple months over a long period of time. You know, that's the kind of data that you want, and setting the price alerts off of that is super helpful.
Yep. Okay, so let's keep going to CHS.
So this is the CHS, and I actually have a couple of price alerts already set up on this one. Looks like one of them is really at the high of the day today. You can kind of see on the intraday here. So right at the high of the day is the first one, and then the second one is a little bit further up that takes a look at a little longer-term level of resistance.
Yep. Okay.
And you can see where this was alerted to right here. This was alerted to at 12.65. That was the entry price. And it certainly did give you an opportunity to scalp something here. It's a momentum play. The alpha predator is looking for that type of momentum. So knowing that, you may want to approach it in that regard.
So by the way, Brad, the thing too is that there's a quick kind of analysis that's happening there also. Look at how Brad, notice, again, all of this is done for you. Notice the window underneath the S&P is kind of your detailed window of what's going on, right? So Brad can quickly see, well, CHS, okay, it's Chico's. He knows what it is, but let's say you didn't know. So you
this right here, 9 times volume today, huge, right? Incredibly big number.
Yeah. And look at the social volume too, by the way. At 5,000%. High float, remember, the whole float thing is a relative thing, in terms of an Intel, it's almost like a zero float. But in terms of some of the other stuff we've been playing, yeah. Either way, the point here is, the AI will alert you to this and it will try to take advantage of it that day. But the AI, when it's done, you can keep going. So let's go to TLRD, since we already have KPTI in there. Okay, Taylor Brands. Again, remember, the 5-day bounce. Look at the strategy that they found this. There's almost no better example of possibly why you would want to be trying to catch this. And I would put it almost right at the entry, Brad, possibly, or very close to it. 350, yeah, right there. Perfect. So some of these, you will take advantage.
This is a really interesting one, too. So again, this is all about perspective, right? We're looking at a pretty zoomed-in daily view. But if I, kind of zoom out, we're looking at the possible turn. And that was the strategy name that generated this particular symbol right here. So I definitely want to kind of keep this one on my watch list.
Okay, let's keep going. PSG, by the way, so this is another great
example. A couple of days ago.
Right, so Holly will often, alert you to things, and again, when Brad's already been in this one, so this is when he took note of it, but that's okay because it kept going, so let's just move it up. You just saw it, now put it to 280, yeah. Perfect. So by the way, this one was really interesting for a lot of different reasons. First of all, look at the options volume, Brad.
Wow, yeah, big number.
Yeah. Mark, absolutely.
Yeah, so Mark, what it does, actually, it's not Mark, it's Martinez here, is asking the question, does Holly alert you in real time as it gets into a trade? And it does, and it actually gives you an audible signal if you have your speaker on. So when a symbol appears, when a trade appears, it'll start off in this open trade window right here, and so that's when it will alert you.
So Brad, Alice asked an interesting question because I think it's a question that often confuses people, and I want to answer it for her and hopefully answer everyone. So does Holly do swing trades? The answer is, of course she does already. And the swing trades are your triggered alert windows. And the way that you do them is by setting up your price alerts when you see the AI. So you can convert, or not convert rather, but create a swing trade out of every single Holly trade. They're all designed to swing. There isn't really anything that separates a day trade from a swing trade specifically other than yourself. So that's when Brad was saying, Alice, that using the price alerts, okay, and then having them turn into triggered alerts is how you swing trade. And so Mark, I actually don't like that word, by the way. Swing trading is a silly word like day trading that was created just as a way to describe, like, you're trying to swing the waves like up and down, like as Barry said, holding it longer for a day. But all those definitions honestly just paint you into a corner. Invest and get in and out purely based on your own tolerance and risk. If you are in, like, let's say 1,000 shares of a $5 stock and it's now at $6.80, considerably higher than when you bought it, you don't have to just get out for no reason. And I say this all the time, like, if you want to be a good investor, you want to approach it like golf. There's different ways to get there. There's not one right way to get there. So JP says, how many strategies are there? It's a great question. So our AI, artificial intelligence holy grail, consists of approximately 46 strategies that compete amongst themselves. And out of those 46, I think 12 or so, or maybe 15 are short. So that's the bank. And every day they're competing amongst themselves to see what's working best, and that's how you find out what happens in the market. I'm not understanding what Anderson's question is. Brad, do you?
I don't, other than I think Anderson's stating that, traders come in all types, and he's saying there are upcoming investors here. That means people are learning the trade, they're trying to understand and educate themselves on how to extract alpha from the marketplace. And
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we're here for, This is the best time I've ever seen to start becoming an active investor, because the technology has finally come alive again. Brad and I were very fortunate. We kind of started investing at the first technology revolution in trading, which was called direct access, and it was an incredible time to be an investor. And that also happened to have coincided with the dot-com bubble, and you had stocks like, Dell and Microsoft that ran like crazy, and Qualcomm. I mean, it was, and of course, all the search engines. It was incredible. But we're starting with that again because we're at a new technological revolution, except this one is much more exciting. And your vendor, Trade Ideas, is a part of the revolution. That's the really cool part. We're so optimistic because we're taking advantage of the technology, and we're doing things that have just never been done. Mike, always a pleasure to see you. And again, you guys will know that everybody who's a part of Trade Ideas is actually in the game. We get it. We have empathy. It's not just about, getting an MBA from Wharton or Harvard and then coming to Trade Ideas and helping, investors invest. You've got to have empathy. And there's really just no crew out there that has the kind of collective empathy between myself, Barry, Jamie, Steve, Andy, and everybody else who's doing it. We have the formula that we do to help specifically new investors is that we have that free trading room that has the constant best practices. We have the technology every day in and out that just is updating itself and doing something that isn't done anywhere else in the market. And then we have the supporting webinars. This is what you're here right now. We're hopefully giving you kind of a formula. There's the best practices, like what Brad is doing, and we're showcasing that it isn't difficult to do. We don't want to be doing if-then statements and modifiers and all these things. We believe the brokerage industry has flooded the world with tools. It's kind of like, Brad, I hate to say it, but it's very similar to the PGA. Those efforts. Hey guys, look, we got a new golf club. Oh, but handicaps have not moved at all for the last 30 years.
Those efforts because they won't let you join?
That's right. Only you and Barry can play golf.
We'll see about that, buddy.
Mark, so also I wouldn't put the 1% growth per day because again, it's not realistic. From various points of view, the 1% really has a lot to do with your starting capital, and don't think it's Brad, what's the phrase? It's not the end result; it's the process. If you can work on the process, okay, then you will get to the end result. Don't worry about the 1%. Do what Brad's doing, the best practices, setting it up. Start small with like 100 shares and learn how to be able to do that by focusing on just your attention, get your feeling. So that's the thing. You have to work your feel in investing. Because again, there isn't a magic number of indicators that, oh, the MACD or does this or that. That's not how you get better. You get better through seeing and doing. That's it. Seeing and doing. And with us, through Barry and again, Jamie, Andy, Steve, Brad, myself, everybody else, we give you the ability to give the kind of feedback from guys that have done it, succeeded, and now are creating technology that helps people do the same thing.
So I'm going to give 2 seconds here to Mark. He's asking about our partnership with Lightspeed, and what we've done is we've connected our Brokerage Plus auto trading tool to Lightspeed's API. So effectively, you have the ability to drop in any alert strategy into the Strategies tab right here. In fact, turn it on and then manage the position here from the Positions tab. You can let it automatically handle based on time and stop loss and profit target, or you can kind of treat it as a gray box and manually intervene after it's initiated the position.
And by the way,
something that we're working on IB as well as a destination.
IB as a destination, and again, since you guys are here, you can just know this is also coming to the web. Because that's where we're really going to make some big headroads, is you will be able to trade through this, through multiple brokers, including maybe our own. And again, the synergy. It's all coming together. Okay, Brad, I think we've tortured the audience enough, unless there's any more questions, because again, we don't want to...
Let me do this. Let me pop up a final slide right here. If I can find it. Too many windows open.
So Walter, I'm going to ask Walter real quick. Listen, Walter, I mean, I know a lot of people say a lot of different things, but yours truly here humbly believes that level 2 is just completely worthless. I mean, we will not, because we don't need it, and you don't need it for decision making, because the days of scalping are over. The more you scalp, the more you are likely to lose over the long term more, because, and Barry, forgive me, not again, some people who can acquire the skill, no problem. But level 2, you don't need that kind of, it's like not seeing the forest through the trees. The way we work, the kind of ideas that we have, and the kind of way that we want to be able to provide them so that they can be something useful for a number of people, just does not require level 2 at all. So Mark, scalping is another one of those terrible metaphors, meaning that you take a small slice, you know, from the top. So, Brad, maybe can you pull up the Holly performance view real quick so we can just show from who was a question? So how profitable is Holly? So we've kind of been sprinting away from the S&P, and one of the interesting things is that, you know, Holly's been evolving a lot since we've started, but we kind of just turned around and we kept the statistics, and here's where we are overall. Mark, yes, scalping is in some, take some and get out. The problem is it's the take some part that's tricky, because it's very subjective. Well, what is the sum that you're taking? How are you doing that, etc.? Well, Mark, it is very impressive because it's true and it's done by the artificial intelligence. Again, we're getting to the driverless cars here and investing people, and it's not through all the first generation robo-advisors. Those people, that's called an assembly line. And there's no technology there. But what we're doing is we've got a thinking, chess-playing computer that's trading, pretending that it's a human, and trying to trade from that perspective. So it's a completely different animal, and it's so exciting to be here in this business doing this. Brad, okay, let's do one quick thing. Last slide, let's do the contacts, and then one quick slide on the promos, and then we're outie.
Alrighty, so here we go. This is our Twitter handle.
Yeah, if you need to get a hold of us and you don't mind crazy stuff, I'm at Trade Ideas 1. Our more corporate is at Trade Ideas. Please like us on Facebook. We have a presence everywhere. We're on Instagram. We're on Snapchat. I can't even tell you some of the places that Brad puts us because they're not allowed. And then, Brad, let's put on slide 4 just a quick reminder that we have started our Labor Day promotion.
So I gave your personal phone number right here as well as your email.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you. I'll be in a meeting tomorrow from 7:30 till 9 p.m. Okay, so that's our Labor Day sale. That's the promo code. And yeah, we love doing this. These webinars is where we really get to communicate to real people. We don't want to be far away. I mean, I think one of the things that the technology, Brad, as the equalizer, is it lets companies really break the mold of traditional corporate kind of sooty, don't talk to the customer. And really, we want you to know who we are. We're real people. We're here to help you succeed, and ourselves in the process. So very excited to be doing this. Again, we hope you join us, but if not, make sure you go to the free trading room, and it's a great place to start. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Brad. There's another webinar later today for the Trade of the Week, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks. See you, everybody.